Imagine this. Chaos has erupted in your city. The power grid is down, streets are in panic, and the only thing between you and survival is the bag you've been preparing for years, your bug-out bag. You throw it over your shoulder, confident, until just hours later, you realize it was packed completely wrong. You're out of water. Your gear is broken. Your life is now at risk because of mistakes you didn't even know you made. These are the 15 survival mistakes in your bug-out bag that could literally get you killed. And you might be making them right now. Stay with me to the end, because mistake number 6 is one even professionals don't talk about. And it's deadly. Mistake number 1. Overpacking your bag. Ever tried running with a 60-pound backpack through muddy terrain while people are screaming in the background? Overpacking is the classic mistake of the over-prepper. It feels like safety, but in practice, it slows you down. And in a real emergency, speed is life. I remember cara que treinou com a gente, ex-militar, que fazia questão de levar-lhe tudo, 2 redes, machado tamanho grande, kit de cozinha completo, até fogareiro reserva. Quando simulamos uma rota de fuga, adivinha? Ele mal conseguiu percorrer metade da distância dos outros. Quando a adrenalina bate, uma mochila pesada vira uma sentença de morte. O que deve estar ali é apenas o que te mantém vivo, não o que te deixa confortável. Mistake 2. Trusting unproven gear. What if I told you your brand new survival tool might break the first time you actually use it? There was a man in Florida who packed a cheap knockoff multi-tool in his bug-out bag, said it had 12 functions. During Hurricane Ian, he had to cut through debris to reach safety. The blade snapped in half. He was stuck, injured, and delayed, hours before help could reach him. The golden rule? If you haven't tested it in the field, don't count on it in survival. Because when you're out there, it's not about features, it's about function under pressure. Mistake. Number 3. Forgetting. Water filtration, no matter how tough you are, 3 days without clean water, and you're done. Period. A prepper couple in Arizona had a bug-out drill last summer. They brought plenty of water bottles, but forgot any method to purify more. On day 2, they ran out. The closest stream was contaminated. Cows upstream, bacteria everywhere. They ended up hospitalized for dehydration and stomach infections. You'd be shocked how many people pack knives, fire starters, and shelter, but no water filter. A Sawyer Mini or even water purification tablets take up no space and can save your life. Mistake number 4. Ignoring air filtration and protection. You can survive weeks without food, days without water, but only minutes without clean air. Let me tell you about Kyle. He lived near a chemical plant in Ohio. When a massive fire broke out, the air filled with toxic smoke. He grabbed his bug-out bag, but he never thought to pack a respirator or even an N95 mask. He tried to escape by car, but traffic was jammed. He had to run through smoke for almost a mile, ended up collapsing, coughing blood. All because he underestimated air. Your bug-out bag needs at least a couple of N95s, maybe a compact gas mask, especially if you're anywhere near industrial zones, cities, or wildfire-prone areas. Mistake number 5. No caloric or nutritional planning pop quiz. How long can your body function in a crisis on just protein bars and jerky? There was a guy I trained with who bragged his bug-out bag had 3 days of food. When we did a weekend field test, his bag had 12 granola bars, 4 beef jerkies, and instant coffee. By day 2, his hands were shaking, he couldn't focus, and by nightfall he was vomiting. Calories matter, but so does the type. Your bug-out food needs high-density calories, electrolytes, and be something your stomach can handle under stress. Include dried fruits, electrolyte tablets, instant rice, or even MREs, meals ready to eat, and test them before the emergency. Mistake number 6. Poor medical readiness. Most people think survival means fire and knives, but sometimes what kills you is a small cut that gets infected. In 2020, During a bug-out simulation in Montana, a participant got a blister that broke. No big deal, right? Wrong. With no proper first aid in his bag and hiking for miles daily, the wound turned septic. He collapsed with a fever on day 4 and had to be airlifted out. What was missing? Antiseptic wipes, antibiotic ointment, proper bandages, and painkillers. Your bug-out bag must include a real first aid kit, not just Band-Aids. Think gauze, trauma shears, medical gloves, tweezers, electrolyte packs, and at least a basic instruction card. And stick around until the end, because I'm going to show you some essential gear you can check out. All of it linked right below in the comments. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Mistake number 7. No mental rehearsal or practice. You've got the perfect bug-out bag. But when the moment hits, do you actually know what to do? Darren had spent 3 years building his bug-out kit. Every tool was top-notch. But when a wildfire threatened his home in California, he panicked. He forgot where half the items were packed, dropped his flashlight, couldn't start his car. He froze. Why? Because he never rehearsed, never practiced under stress. And in survival, hesitation can kill. Your bug-out bag is not a magic talisman. It's a toolbox, and you're the operator. Drill your evacuation. Plan. Time your route. Simulate stress. Train your brain. That's the real edge. Mistake number 8. Not testing your gear in real conditions. You packed it, you read the manual, you watched 10 YouTube videos about how it works, but you've never actually used it. This is one of the silent killers in survival situations. Trusting gear you've never field tested. When the power's out, your hands are trembling, and the clock is ticking. You don't get a second chance to figure it out. I remember this guy from Utah, big into prepping, had a high-end water purifier in his bug-out bag. But when the wildfire forced him out, he realized he never tested it on real river water, and he couldn't make it work. Ended up with a gut infection that nearly killed him. That's not just a story, that's a reality check. The solution? Field days. Take your gear outside, rain or shine. Get your hands dirty. Your bug-out bag isn't a museum piece, it's your last line of defense. Mistake number 9. Your bag is too heavy to carry. You may not want to hear this, but your bug-out bag might be a liability, not because of what's missing, but because of what's inside. Too many people stuff their bags like they're going on a weekend trip to the mountains. Coffee makers, axes the size of their leg, giant cook kits. But if you can't walk 10 miles with it on your back, it's not a survival bag. It's a fantasy. Take Mike from Montana, for example. He built what he called the ultimate bug-out bag, 60 pounds of gear, including solar panels and mini stove. But when flash floods came, he couldn't even lift it into his truck. His neighbors had to help, and they left him behind. Literally. You need a bag that moves with you, not one that drags you down. Mistake number 10. Bugging out when you should stay. Here's the twist. Sometimes the smartest move is no move at all. Bugging out should be a last resort, not your first reaction. Too many preppers think of their bag as the go-to solution for every crisis. But if you leave too soon or for the wrong reasons, you're putting yourself at more risk, not less. A man in Northern California bugged out during early signs of civil unrest. Left his home, his supplies, and his community. Days later, things calmed down, and he returned to find his house broken into and most of his gear gone. If he had waited, stayed alert, and reinforced his home, he would have been safer. Lesson: your brain is your best survival tool. Use it before your boots. Mistake number 11. Trusting gear without ever training. With it, imagine you spent months researching the best water filter. You bought a top-of-the-line portable, rugged model. On paper, it's perfect. But the day your city's water supply shuts off due to infrastructure failure, you open the box and have no clue how to assemble it. The manual is in technicals. English, your family is thirsty. Panic creeps in. This is more common than people think. Having the right gear is useless if you never used it. Whether it's a tactical tent, an emergency flashlight, a purifier, or a multi-tool, if you've never practiced with it, when disaster hits, you'll freeze. Under stress, your brain defaults to muscle memory. If you've only read about it or watched a video once, odds are you'll fail when it matters most. Real preparedness requires repetition. You need to sweat in peace so you don't bleed in chaos. Mistake number 12. Forgetting about long-term mental health disasters. Don't just destroy buildings or cut off supplies. They break the human mind. Survivors in shelters after hurricanes or blackouts often say the worst part isn't hunger or cold. It's the fear, the isolation, the mental pressure of uncertainty. One subtle but devastating mistake is preparing food, water, defense, but ignoring your mind. No one to talk to, no way to mark time, no games, books, cards, or distractions. That's how anxiety and depression spiral out of control. The father who panics can no longer lead. The mother who collapses emotionally can't protect the kids. A mentally worn-down teenager may make a deadly mistake. Mental resilience is not optional. It's critical. Your prep plan must include mental stability, routines, downtime, fun, human connection. Because your brain is just as vital to survival as your lungs or your heart. Mistake number 13. Underestimating extreme temperatures. Urban preppers often build the perfect supply setup, assuming a comfortable 72-degree ice. But what happens when the power's out for 5 days and it's 110 degrees outside? Or when a deep freeze hits and drops the temp below zero? Exposure kills faster than starvation. In cold, hypothermia creeps in silently. In heat, dehydration shreds your organs. Simple tools like thermal blankets, layered clothing, window insulation, or battery-powered fans are often overlooked until it's too late. This is the planning mistake rooted in denial. People don't think it'll get that bad. But real life, crises always get worse. The weather becomes the enemy. And if you didn't prepare for thermal comfort, you'll end up desperately improvising while your body shuts down. Smart prepping means prepping for the extremes, not just the average. Mistake number 14. Failing to prepare the whole family. You might be the most prepared person on your street. You've got stockpiles, shelter, tools, weapons, everything. But if your family doesn't know the plan, if they rely on you for everything, the moment you're not around, it's over. This is an emotional mistake. Many people think, I'll protect them, and never share the details. They don't train their spouse, they don't teach their kids, they don't explain the emergency signals or rally points. A man once left his wife and 2 young kids at home to get fuel during a regional collapse. She didn't know where the flashlight was, didn't know how to lock down the house. He never came back. The family depended completely on him, and without him, they were defenseless. This isn't just poor planning, it's a failure of love. Teaching is protecting. Empowering your family might be the most critical prep you ever do. Mistake number 15. Believing you'll remember everything under pressure. At home, sipping coffee, everything makes sense. You think, I'll remember what to do if something goes wrong. But stress doesn't work like that. Under high pressure, the rational brain shuts down. You act on instinct. If you don't have visual cues, simple steps, clearly labeled tools, you make mistakes. You forget where the batteries are. You confuse buttons. You fumble with gear you thought you knew. That's why checklists matter. Why visual maps and instructions taped to walls or color-coded supplies save lives. Plan as if someone completely untrained will need to follow your system, because that someone might be you in a panic, sleep-deprived, scared out of your mind. One of the deadliest mistakes is overestimating your own memory. A good prepper assumes nothing and plans for everything, especially human error. When the world outside breaks down, survival is no longer just about gear and supplies. It's about bearing the burden of protecting those you love, even when everything seems to be falling apart. Real preparedness isn't paranoia, it's responsibility. It's strategy driven by love. It's the quiet promise to stand strong when no one else can. Every mistake we've covered here has a cost, but every action you take now, every drill, every lesson, every ounce of knowledge builds the wall that protects your family. It's not just about being ready with tools, it's about being ready in your heart, your mind, your soul. Because when the chaos starts and the weak freeze, you won't. The battle may begin out there, but the victory starts in your home with the choices you make.